Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to look at something that might not be on everyone's radar, but trust me, it's a pretty vital component in a whole bunch of industries. We're talking screwed ball valves. And I got to say, the research you dug up from Cognitive Market Research is super interesting, especially with the steady growth they're predicting and the competitive landscape in the sector.
Yeah, it's really fascinating when you think about it. You know how fluids are controlled and managed across so many industries, like everything from extracting oil to purifying water. Well, screwed ball valves are like the unsung heroes, making those processes work. It's a huge multi-billion-dollar market that's actually crucial to efficiency and industrial progress as a whole. So in this deep dive, we're going to try to break down the key insights from the report. Who are the big players? What's driving their growth? And what might the future hold for them?
Perfect. So let's get right to the numbers. The report says the market size right now in 2024 is about 2,814.5 million USD. That's a pretty substantial amount right there. But here's what's really interesting. By 2032, they're projecting it to hit 4,158.3 million USD. That's a compound annual growth rate of 5%. And while 5% might not sound super exciting compared to some crazy tech sector growth, in a mature industrial market like this one, it actually points to really consistent and reliable demand.
Right, you hit the nail on the head there. That steady upward trend suggests that investments in this sector are going to be pretty safe and see consistent returns. That kind of environment is really attractive, both to established players looking for long-term stable opportunities and for newer companies hoping to jump in and capitalize on that consistent growth. It offers a totally different kind of risk-reward scenario than you see in more volatile markets. What's really interesting here is what's actually driving this expansion. And the report really emphasizes the role of the oil and gas industry. They operate under some incredibly tough conditions, as you know, and they rely heavily on these super robust valves to make everything work.
Of course, I mean, those valves need to be able to handle high pressure, resist corrosion. It's a pretty demanding environment. But it can't just be the energy sector that's fueling this growth, right? And that would make the future outlook kind of dependent on all the ups and downs we see in oil and gas.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. The report highlights a huge and growing demand coming from water treatment as well. And that sector is only going to become more critical as the global focus shifts to efficient water management and infrastructure. On top of that, chemical processing and general manufacturing across all kinds of industries are also playing a big part in this consistent growth.
So it's really important to understand that we're not talking about some niche market here. This isn't something tied to the fate of one specific industry. We're talking about a fundamental component that supports so many essential activities across different sectors. What are some of the major trends that are pushing this expansion across these sectors?
Well, if you think about it in the context of how industry is evolving in general, there are a few key factors that stand out. Industrial automation is a big one. More and more processes are becoming automated right. It improves efficiency, it cuts costs, and as that happens, the demand for reliable and efficient valves, they're integral to these automated systems, just naturally increases. Then even the safety regulations, which are getting more stringent all the time across various industries. And that means you absolutely need high-quality, leak-proof valves to prevent any accidents or environmental hazards. And of course, we can't forget the huge amount of infrastructure development that's happening worldwide. All of that inherently requires really robust fluid control systems. And as industries start to tackle even more complex applications involving things like higher pressures and more extreme temperatures, the demand for these really high-performance valves designed to handle those specific challenges just keeps going up.
That's a really clear breakdown of what's fueling this market growth. Now, to get a little more specific, which industries are really leading the way in adopting these screwed ball valves right now?
Well, as we touched on earlier, the oil and gas sector is definitely the biggest player at the moment. They need valves that can handle corrosive materials and maintain pressure under extreme conditions. So they're the primary consumers right now. But the water and wastewater treatment industry is a close second. They need really reliable water management systems, so their demand is significant and growing all the time.
And if you're looking at global trends, geographically speaking, where is this growth concentrated?
Asia Pacific is definitely the major growth hub right now that's mostly driven by the really rapid industrialization and infrastructure development happening in places like China, India, and the Southeast Asian countries. But North America and Europe are still really important markets. The demand there remains strong, especially with the continued push for industrial automation and the ongoing needs of their energy sectors.
So it's really a global market, but with some dynamic regional growth happening in Asia Pacific specifically. Now, are there any interesting shifts happening in the actual technology or the materials being used in these valves?
Absolutely. The report highlights a few key trends that are worth paying attention to. One of them is the increased adoption of these really advanced materials. Things like specialized alloys and composites. These can make the valves more durable and resistant to chemicals and extreme temperatures. That extends their lifespan and reduces maintenance costs. Automation is also a big driver. It's leading to the development and use of more sophisticated, remotely controlled valves. These can be integrated into complex industrial control systems. And finally, there's a growing emphasis on eco-friendly manufacturing techniques. This reflects the broader concerns about sustainability and the regulatory pressures that are being placed on industrial processes.
Fascinating. So the report delves into some of the key companies operating in this space. Who are the biggest players right now in the screwed ball valves market?
According to Positive Market Research, the top 10 companies are Kirlosko Brothers, Haidema, Troline Valve, Flow Control, Sankey Controls, Gothami Pumps and Valves, Emerson Electric Co., Flowserve Corporation, Crane Co., and Amco Valves.
Wow, that's quite a list. It seems like the report focuses a little more on the top five. So let's start with Kirlosko Brothers. They have a market share of 17%, which is pretty significant. What makes them such a dominant force?
Well, Kirlosko Brothers has built a really solid reputation for the quality and durability of their valves. They offer a really wide range of products catering to various applications, things like water treatment, chemical processing, and even the oil and gas sector. They've got a well-established global distribution network, and they're investing heavily in research and development. And increasingly, they're emphasizing sustainability in both their manufacturing processes and in the products themselves. That's becoming more and more of a competitive advantage as regulations tighten and customers start to prioritize suppliers with strong ESG credentials.
Definitely, sustainability is a key differentiator across the board these days. The next one on the list is Hadowa with a 14% market share. What are they known for?
Haidema stands out because of their advanced engineering capabilities. They're really focused on producing high-performance valves that meet those really strict industry standards. This makes them a top choice for sectors like petrochemical, pharmaceutical, and even food processing, where precision and reliability are absolutely critical. They're investing a lot in cutting-edge manufacturing technology and rigorous quality assurance. And strategically, they're expanding globally while focusing on developing these smart and automated valve solutions. That aligns really well with that broader trend towards automation that we discussed earlier.
Smart and automated, yeah. That seems to be the way everything's going. All right, so next we have Truline Valve with a 12% market share. Tell me about them.
They offer a really diverse portfolio of valves, designed for industrial, commercial, and even municipal applications. And their reputation is built on the reliability and innovative nature of their products. Their valves are specifically engineered to handle really extreme conditions, which makes them essential in industries like oil and gas, power generation, and wastewater management. They're also really focused on using advanced materials and coatings to make their valves last longer and perform better. And a big plus for them is their ability to customize solutions to meet the specific needs of their clients. That could be a big deal when it comes to winning over those clients who have really unique requirements.
Customization is a big selling point for sure. All right, let's move on to Flow Control. They hold a 6.2% share. What sets them apart from the others?
Well, Flow Control is really well regarded for their precision engineering and their incredible reliable valves. They mainly work with water treatment, chemical processing, and marine applications, where consistent performance is absolutely crucial. They focus on designing valves with superior sealing capabilities that are easy to operate and maintain. And importantly, they've made a big commitment to sustainability by incorporating energy-efficient designs and eco-friendly materials in their products. They're also strategically expanding through these regional centers, which helps them provide better customer service and make sure their products are readily available in key markets.
So they're putting a strong emphasis on both performance and environmental responsibility. Got it. Now, last but not least in the top five is Sankey Controls with a 4.1% market share. What's their story?
Sankey Controls really prioritizes high-precision manufacturing and a customer-centric approach. They're known for providing reliable performance in sectors like oil and gas, HVAC, and industrial automation. They're always looking for ways to improve their manufacturing processes, and they've been actively incorporating IoT-enabled features into their valves. This allows for better remote monitoring and control. They also rely heavily on a robust supply chain and have formed strategic partnerships that play a key role in their market strategy.
Okay, so we've got a pretty diverse group of leading companies here, each with their own unique strengths and strategic focus areas. Now, the report also outlines the key criteria that are used to evaluate and compare these companies. What are the most important factors that really determine success in this market?
So beyond just revenue and market share, which are obviously important, the report highlights several other crucial factors. The breadth and quality of their product portfolio matters a lot. like what kind of valves they offer, their pressure ratings, materials, types of end connections, and how well suited they are to different industries. Then you have technological innovations, advancements in sealing technology, integration with automation systems, smart monitoring capabilities using IoT. Those are all vital for staying competitive. A strong global presence is also essential. That means having good distribution networks and international partnerships to reach a wider customer base. And consistent investment in research and development is a sign that a company is committed to future innovation. Strategic alliances and collaborations can also really help companies expand their reach and enhance their offerings.
It sounds like they're looking at the big picture, not just where companies are now, but also their potential and where they're headed strategically. Now, even though these top five seem pretty well established, the report does point out some emerging threats in the market, which companies are starting to challenge their dominance.
Right. The report identifies a few companies that are gaining traction and posing a real challenge to those top players. These include Gavami Pumps and Valves, Emerson Electric Co., Flowserve Corporation, Crane Co., and Amco Valves. Each of them is using different strategies to try to capture more market share.
Let's take a closer look at a couple of them. What makes Gathami Pumps and Valves a company that the leaders should be keeping an eye on?
Gathami is focused on delivering high-quality, reliable, and efficient screwed ball valves for various industrial and commercial applications. They've been really smart about expanding their manufacturing capabilities and their ability to offer customized valve solutions. This approach has been especially effective in emerging economies where there's high demand for cost-competitive and customized products.
Yeah, cost effectiveness and customization are really powerful tools, especially in those developing markets. What about a more established player like Emerson Electric Co.? How are they trying to gain more ground?
Emerson is really leveraging their strength in automation and digital integration. They're investing heavily in smart valve technologies, incorporating IoT-enabled monitoring, and offering predictive maintenance features. These give end users huge advantages in terms of operational efficiency and cost savings. They're already strong in energy and water management, and they have a global network, which makes them a really formidable competitor.
So they're really tapping into that trend of digitalization in industrial operations. Okay, what about Flowserve Corporation? What are they doing?
Flowserve is building on its extensive product portfolio and their deep expertise in fluid control. They're also putting a big emphasis on sustainable solutions like low-emission and highly corrosion-resistant valves. This aligns well with increasing environmental regulations and the growing demand for greener technology. And their ability to provide really customized solutions across many different industries gives them a competitive edge.
Sustainability and customization are definitely key themes here for companies that want to stand out. What about Crane Co.? What's their approach?
Crane Co. is known for their specialized and super durable valves that are designed for really demanding industrial applications. They're really committed to research and development, and that's led them to some pretty innovative valve designs that improve efficiency and minimize leakage. They're also expanding into high-growth regions strategically, and they're putting a lot of emphasis on providing value-added services like maintenance and technical support. This is all helping to strengthen their market position.
And last but not least, what about Amco Valves? What's their strategy?
Amco Valves is gaining ground by offering cost-effective and reliable valves. Their business model focuses on product standardization, efficient manufacturing, fast delivery times, and competitive pricing. That lets them effectively serve a really broad range of customers. They're also using strategic partnerships in high-demand regions to boost their market presence.
Okay, so it's a really dynamic and competitive environment. We're seeing a mix of innovation, cost leadership, and strategic alliances. It's all about gaining market share. Now, if someone is thinking about entering this market, what advice would this report give to new companies trying to get a foothold?
The report gives some pretty clear guidance for new entrants. The main thing is to focus on developing screwed ball valves that offer either superior performance or a more competitive price. Ideally, both. Innovation is crucial. You need to focus on things like durability, operational efficiency, and automation capabilities, especially for key sectors like oil and gas, water management, and manufacturing.
Makes sense. New players need to bring something unique to the table. What specific areas of innovation does the report highlight as particularly promising?
Material engineering is a big one. Developing valves using advanced corrosion-resistant alloys and composite materials could lead to longer-lasting valves that require less maintenance. That would be a significant advantage. Integrating smart valve technology with IoT capabilities is another huge opportunity. This would allow for things like real-time monitoring, remote control, and predictive maintenance. Newcomers should also focus on optimizing their manufacturing processes and sourcing their raw materials strategically to make sure they can offer competitive pricing without compromising on quality.
So technology and operational efficiency are key, but then you also need to get those products to the customers.
Right, and for new entrants, strategic partnerships are absolutely essential. Collaborating with established suppliers and building strong relationships with distributors, especially in those high-growth regions like Asia-Pacific and the Middle East, can really help them get their products out there and build brand awareness.
Are there any final pieces of advice from the report for those newcomers looking to carve out their own space in this market?
Yeah, the report suggests focusing on emerging trends in the market. Things like the growing demand for automated and remote-controlled valve systems. Another idea is to offer specialized valves that are specifically tailored to certain industries, like those that are becoming more digitalized, the expanding wastewater management sector, or the complex requirements of chemical processing. This kind of targeted approach can help them gain a foothold in specific growing segments. And finally, being able to customize solutions and offer tailored engineering for those unique operational needs. Things like valves designed for ultra-high pressure or extremely low emissions, that can really set them apart and attract customers who have very specific requirements.
So for new players, it sounds like a combination of smart innovation, efficient operations, the right partnerships, and a really sharp focus on emerging customer needs. That's the path to success in this market.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. What are the key takeaways from our discussion about the screwed ball valves market based on this research?
I think the big takeaway is that this is a market that's experiencing steady and promising growth. And it's being driven by the needs of essential industries and advancements in technology. There are definitely some established leaders holding a good chunk of the market share, but it's becoming more and more competitive. Emerging companies are using innovative strategies in terms of technology, cost, and market reach to challenge those established players.
And what's the key to staying on top in this evolving market?
It all comes down to continuous research and development and being proactive about diversifying your product line to meet those ever-changing demands of various industries. The companies that can innovate and adapt to those changing needs are going to be the ones that thrive in the long run. It's amazing to think how even something like a screwed ball valve, which most people probably never think about, is actually at the heart of major economic and technological shifts.
It really is. And I think this deep dive shows how the trends in this seemingly niche market are reflective of broader trends that are happening across many industries. We're talking about changes in manufacturing, technology adoption, and global competition. It's all connected.
Absolutely. It makes you wonder what other seemingly niche markets might offer similar insights into the future of industry. That's something worth thinking about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.